I've been fiercely advocating for tax reform since getting into this parliament. I believe strongly in reforms such that we can ensure younger Australians get a fair go, that the energy transition is as cheap as possible and to restore productivity. On personal income, my advocacy has always started with lowering income taxes funded by reducing concessions. It has always been my firm view that tax reform should be budget neutral. Reforms to CGT and negative gearing might give younger people an edge back at the auction. I support that. I support reductions to the CGT rate and I support changes to negative gearing. But I've always believed that the best way to support younger working Australians is to let them keep more of what they earn. This budget fails at this task. Of the $100 billion it raises over the medium term, it keeps about $77 billion. It provides a 250 working tax offset for Australians annually from 2027 to 28, and rests a justification on previous tax cuts already given under this government, or tax cuts may be given in the future. Those are welcome. But after a period of high inflation, those tax cuts, as shown by the average Australian marginal tax rate, have been eaten up by bracket creep. The government has introduced a WATO. This is positive, but it doesn't do anything for our comparatively high rates that kick in at relatively modest incomes. Cutting marginal tax rates would both protect workers, also drive aspiration and increase, I think, the trust in the community that the government's measures to increase taxes in certain areas or reduce tax concessions are about supporting younger people and not just about supporting government spending. This is why, in addition to the WATO, I move an additional amendment to cut the marginal tax rates over the medium term in line with the $77 billion raised over the medium term. This would, in the estimates that we have done, involve cutting the 45% rate to 44% in 2029-30, the 37 to 36 rate in the 37 rate to 36% in 2030-31, and the 30% rate to 29% in 2031-32. The lowest marginal tax rate has already been lowered under previous cuts, which I support, and will still substantially benefit from the WATO. An alternative proposal would be to introduce some form of indexing, as a crossbench suggested prior to the election, or members of the crossbench suggested prior to the election, and the coalition has suggested this year. But I believe this change represents an opportunity to lower rates before locking them in. Indexing is something that needs to be funded, particularly by spending restraint. This package would represent the sort of budget-neutral reforms that help all Australians by lowering marginal rates while also reducing concessions on asset income. This is, I think, the best way for the government to get support for what the government is trying to do, which is, I think, reducing concessions reducing concessions on assets by reducing taxes on marginal tax rates. I think that this is both economically, it's the right thing for the community. It's the right thing. It is not inflationary because it is put out in future years, and I think that this would be the right thing for the government to do, and I think they should support it.
Question.